Yeah, hello and welcome. My name is Python V. In this video, I'll be teaching you how to use Node.js with MySql. Well, it's possible to use that because I've noticed most people like using Node.js with MongoDB, but I'm going to be teaching you how to use Node.js with MySql. Now, you might be having issues with your cPanel connecting remotely to your Node.js application, but I think I have found a fix for that. But if your cPanel hosting or your provider is not giving you issues remotely connecting to your SQL, I think SQL is a very good database. In short, a very nice database to use Node.js with. So let us dive in. So the first thing we want to do is to create our database. Now there's an online platform which I'm using called PlanetScale. PlanetScale is used to create MySQL, MariaDB database. Now for a free account, they will give you one database to use, and that is enough, at least for a start. So once you sign up and you've created an account, you get to this point, you can create an account with either your GitHub or you can use your email account. Then you can create a database or you can import a database. So right now I'm going to create a database and I'm going to just give it a name, and let me say testing. Now because this is just for testing purposes, I'm going to be using this method. So I'm going to be doing create, I'm going to be doing update, I'm going to be doing read and delete. So there are many of it you can do with it. So I'm going to create this database. First thing first, I'm going to create a database. Now you might not be able to see the information of this database yet. You understand? You might not be able to see the information of the database. You need a kind of workbench. So you can either download MySQL workbench or you can download Navicat. So I use Navicat, although it's premium, so they'll give you 14 days free trials. But if you can get to buy it or you can get a free version, you can download the free version. So the database is initializing, and once it has connected, they allow you to create just one database for a particular project. But beside that, let's go, and before it's finished setting up, let's go and set up our Node.js application. So back to this place, this is my Node.js file, and I'm going to install all the things I need to create an API because I want to do it on Node.js, and I'll be sending requests here. So now here I'm going to npm install. The first thing I want to install is Express. I want to install cores. I want to install body parser. So read this one supposed to be body parser. So Express cores, body parser. I want to install NodeMon. I want to install PM2. Now, the difference between NodeMon and PM2 is that NodeMon has this ability when you push to production. If NodeMon crashes, you have to redeploy your application. But with PM2 allows you to, use your application. Even when it crashes, it has the ability to start again from the beginning. So I'm going to be installing Express, cores, body parser, NodeMon, PM2. Later, we're going to install the MySQL driver. So I'll click on to installing this one. Oh, sorry, I forgot something. Sorry, I forgot to do npm init. Sorry, I need the package.json. Forgot. So it's going to ask me for my package name, and I'm going to leave it as node MySQL. So I'll just skip all this point and click OK. So I have my package.json there. So what I want to do is to create a file, index.js, and that's what I need now. Then after I do that, I'm going to install all these ones I clicked here before. So npm install Express, cores, body parser, NodeMon, PM2. And as this one is installing, I'll come to my package.json and I'll start writing my script. I'm going to remove this one. So the first one I want to write now is start. So when I want to push to Netlify, I'm going to use my start. So inside my start, I will use, for this one, I'll use PM2 runtime. So when I'm pushing to the server, I'm going to use PM2 runtime index.js. Now this one is important. Now for here, maybe when I'm on my computer and I want to do normal development, I'm going to use dev. So this one is NodeMon index.js. I think that is that. What other one we have npm install, which comes in, it comes in, pre-built and the rest. So I think this is the tool I need now, currently, just now, for what I want to do. So I'm going to save. It says, well, let me just copy this so I can overwrite. I will overwrite. Come to my package or JSON. I will not see it, so I have to do this thing again. So it's installed already, but it should just reinstall it. No, I have to close this one. So I'm not supposed to open it down when it was installing. So as you can see it now, they are here. So these are my two files. So both of them will work. So if I write npm run start, that means I'm starting pm2 runtime. So this one will kick off. As you can see, it's going to work. So if my application crashes, it's going to start up by itself. So if I put in something like this and I save, my application will crash and it's going to be working, crash and it's going to be working, crash and it's going to be working. So that's the difference between this one and no one. So with this one, with this one, anytime your app crashes, it keeps turning back on. So that's one good thing about it. But with NodeMon, so if I put npm, run dev, I'm going to have issue with this one. This one will be crashing if there's an error. So let me just put in something here is and save. It says app crash. I cannot see. It's not even starting up again. It's saying waiting for 5 changes before starting. So maybe when you come and save it, and you see it working normally. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to import express. Express is equals to, it has been long I do this. Let me just try if I can remember. Require express. I'll bring everything I need. Const what again do I need? I need const cause is equals to require cause. This cause helps. Maybe you want to send something from the front end, so it does not block your request. So if you are going deep into security and the rest, you make sure that you are writing a code that is very, very important. So you want to check in people who are sending requests to your server. So you can use cause to work this way out. So what I'm writing is just for educational purposes. There are best practices to run this. So I'll say custom body body, I think is parser. No, it's not supposed to be. Parser is equals to, you can't use hyphen in JavaScript, is equals to require body parser. What else again am I importing? What else am I importing? App sorry, it has been long. I'm a Python person. Const app is equals to express. Yeah. So down here I'll just say app.listen, which takes a port. So I'll put the ports to be 3000. Then it takes a callback function. So something like this, I think. Yeah. So I can console.log server is running on port 3000. So I can just make it a way like, so that I can have something I can click on, so that I will not have to start typing localhost 3000. So I'll just put in, yeah, I'll make it 3000. And I'll be like HTTPS. I know, sorry, for people who don't know this, I'm just trying to / localhost 3000. So once I reload it, you can see it's going to tell me server is running on port 3000. So I'll be able to click here. So I'm going to say const app is equals to express. Now I want to implement all this on. So app.use cause. So make sure the cause is like you're calling the function. App.use body parser. So If you don't have any issue, that's work. So I'm going to do for the first one, which is app dot get. So I'm going to test this one in this thing. So I'm going to put slash. I'm going to comma. I'm going to say request response. So these are the callback functions. So sorry, request is what the person is sending in, like what you're requesting is. Response is what we're sending back to the person. So we'll be like, okay, request response. So I'll be like, once the person sends request to this slash, I'm just going to say res.json. So there's a way to send res.send and this thing, but I'm going to be using just a JSON here, and I'll say message equals to it's working. Hi. So I'm going to save this. So nothing is going to happen yet. So I'm going to put my Postman quickly, and I'm going to test this out in Postman. So I'll send request to this my API that I just created, and it's going to send this back to me. So this video is not about creating API. It's just I just want to show you how to, for people who are going to be starting this course and they want to understand. So you need Node.js installed and the rest. So my Postman is booting up, and I'll just wait for it. So I'm going to start off now. HTTP. Sorry, don't mind me. I have to be writing all this. I'm supposed to be copying and paste. HTTP / local host 3000, and I'm going to put slash. Anywhere we go, and I'll make sure that it's in get request, because my request here says my Postman is always doing this. So my request here says slash, that is get request. So we have get, post, and delete. So I'll put get request and I'll send. Now it's going to send this request to HTTP localhost port 3000, and I'm supposed to get a request, which is not happening. Maybe I'm having an error. Let me check HTTP. Let me check now. Localhost. It says body parser use individually JSON URL and code. Okay, so I think I made an error here. Body parser app.use body parser. Is it supposed to be like this? Okay, let me try. Okay, so I was supposed to call the body parser function, but it's not compulsory for you to use it. It's depreciated. You can remove it. It's not compulsory, but I just leave it. I used to use it because most times I don't trust their application. So as you can see, it's sending. So I'm sending request. I'm sending this request in. I'm sending it in, and it's giving me back. So if I'm to come here and say I use a query, I say name is equals to Victor. So this is a query here. So if you put question mark, you like say name is equals to Victor. Now if you want to print this name out, if you want to get it in the API here, so you get it from request. So what you want to do is here I'm going to console.log request.query. So it's going to, the query is always in the link. So here I'm going to come here and I'm going to hit this guy up, and I get back this my message. And if I come to my console, as you can see, name is Victor. I can decide to send the name back. So I'll just put inside and see name equals to request.query. So once I save here now and I come here and I send the request back, you can see I'm getting the name. We're saying name is Victor. Sorry, I'm supposed to say request.query.name. So I want the name, the actual name. So save. And if I come back here, I send. I say that name is Victor. So if I change it to Dio, name it becomes Dio, and you can see it changes here. So that's for just how this get works. So let's go and let's install our MySql. So much long talk, and I didn't want to do all this. So now this has been installed and it has been set up. So now they're creating the database. I don't know why it is taking so much time to create the database. So I'm going to look at the connect. Now it says, how do we connect it to this thing? Now it's asking me to create a name and a password. So name, I can just give it testing. That's the name of it. I'm going to put my branch to main. I'll create, I say admin, so read, write, delete, whatever. So I'm going to create password. Now it's going to create a password for me, like that's the password you are seeing here. So don't bother using this because I'm going to delete this after the video. So this is my username, this is my password, and it's going to ask me how do you want to connect. So I'm going to select Node.js. So don't worry about this terminal URL. You can use this app.js, as you can see, require.env connection, MySql.create connection. So we have to install MySql, but let's just go with the env, what I need. So I'm going to create a notepad, and I'm going to copy all these details inside it. So I'm going to copy this to this here. I'm going to come here. I'm going to copy this one into here. Which other thing do I need to copy? My name. I think I use my name to be testing. Yeah, I think I use my name to testing. So once I've done that, what again I want to copy is my this thing here, the link, the host. So the host is aws.connect.psb.cloud. This is the host here, which I think, in short, I'm going to cancel all these ones. Coming now. Let me see if I have something. No, what does cancel all these ones here? I'm going to connect. I'll just cancel it. I think my name is testing, but I need that. What are they calling it? I need the host. So I think the host is this one here. This is the host here. So if I come to MySql CLI, so this is the host, aws.connect.psb.cloud. So I'm going to just paste the host here. Then this is my username. This is my password. This is my host. So as you can see, username, password, and host. So I'm going to cancel here. Then I'll come to the driver we're going to use with Node.js. So because we're in Node.js, we're going to use npm.js, and I'm going to download what I use. So I'll click on npm.js. Then I'll search for MySql. So I'm going to get MySql here, which is the exact match. So I'm going to need to install this guy. So I'll come back here, I'll close my server. Now npm install MySql. So that is going to quickly install it. And once we have installed it, we import it, and I will do all the stuffs here. So I'll just do them here. So but note that when you are moving to production, you are doing some, there are best practices. You have to in terms of security, use env files, keep your secret keys, protect them. There are always best practices to this thing. So do not make mistake, the way I'm doing it, you go and upload it like that. No. So I'm going to come back here to I've installed MySql. Then now let's look at how the installation works. So what we need, we've installed it, as you can see. Now we need to bring it in. So all I'll just do is to take all of this. In short, I will take it one after the other so it doesn't confuse you. So first thing first, we want to import MySql. So I can import it down here. So me personally will just remove this and make it const MySql is equals to require SQL. So the next thing is to create a connection. So I'm going to copy all of this one. I want to do all this so that because of time, so I'm going to come down here, I'll put it here. So this is your connection. We are creating a new SQL connection. Now what is the host? The host is the name, that's PlanetScape, which is this one, aws.psbd.cloud. So if you're using remote MySQL, you'll know all this database you're going to use. So if you're going to use my Node.js application on cPanel, and your cPanel can run Node.js application very well, you just have to leave it to localhost, create database in your cPanel. If you're using AWS, surely your MySQL will be running in the background. And if you're going to be using cPanel and remote MySQL, you have to make sure that your hosting provider enables remote MySQL, or you change it in the .mysql.cni file. You can change it there and make sure that the bound files. So I'm saying this for people who understand what I'm saying. But if your hosting is not going to allow you to use MySQL, you can use PlanetScape. So I'm going to change this one from localhost here. which it has already scattered. So I'm going to put it here. So my user, I don't know why they just decided to give somebody this kind of user. Maybe it's because of security reason. So I'm going to just paste this and the password here and just paste it. Then database, as I said, testing. Abi. Now we'll come back here. We're going to test this thing if it's working. We're going to run connection.connect. So you can do this. You can arrange all these things very well inside a function, write it somewhere, create a model or a route or a services folder, and you cannot put everything on index.js. But because this is a quick lecture, I'm going to be doing here. So you have to connect, you have to end the connection, you connect it again. You always have to end your SQL connection. So we're going to connect it at first when this thing loads. Then we're going to check if it's connected. So come here and check if it's connected. No, this one is not to check. So I want to check if it's connected. So I'll quickly go down. So there's a way to check. So connection.connect. So you need a function. So it takes a callback function. Let me just come back here. So connection.connect, which takes a callback function. So I'm using arrow function, sorry. So I'm going to have an error here. So the error is going to point me out if there's any error, as you can see. So if there's an error, we're going to return and we're going to console log something. So else, just console log this. Let me just copy all of this. So you can console log the connection.connection ID under here. So shift.f so I can see. So once you connect, we're going to check if there's an error. If there's an error, we're going to console log error connecting, and the error we're getting. Else, we're going to connect. Okay, it is connected as an ID. So we're going to save this and we're going to run the application. So when it's running from top, so I'm going to put all these ones down here and put here my SQL config, my SQL connection. So let's try running this using this time I'm going to use npm run dev because I like to see what is happening. So once I run it now and cross our fingers that it's going to work. So as you can see, I'm having an error. It says unavailable server does not allow insecure connection. Client must use SSL or TSL. So you're going to have these issues, and it's from here. So I think you have to put some TSL refuse config or so. So if you come down here, if you keep going down, which I can remember, it has been long. So we're going to use this one, SSL reject unauthorized. So I'm going to use this one. So this is because of it is rejecting kind of SSL. So this is for advanced. Maybe you want to encrypt it with some kind of SSL and for it to work. So once you put that one, SSL reject unauthorized false. So it's going to check for your SSL. As you can see, it's connected. Now your database is connected. So let us do something. Let's check something now. So down here, I'm going to create, as you can see, it's connected now. Down here, I'm going to, let me just put this one down. I don't like seeing it. Down here, I'm going to create the first one. So app.get, let's create a database first. Let's create a database and let's see what happens. So how do we create a database? So I'm going to create an API route, app.get. So when the person puts slash create, no, I just want to create the database. So I'll just put in the function, request, response, then like this. So when somebody does this, I just want to create, because I don't want to start writing it in the query. So I'll just say connection. I'll call that connection that we created here. This connection. Let me just put this one down. I'll call this connection that we created here. This one is what we're going to use to perform all our query. So we have connection.query. Now the first thing we have inside is what are they calling it? The query itself is always inside something like this. So I can say create. So if you know SQL syntax, create. I'll create a table. Create table. I'm going to call the table users. Then I need to write some stuff because you need this thing. So not to make it too hard, I'm going to say name. No, I'm going to give it ID, which is an int bracket. I'm going to give it username. So you must know SQL to do this. Username, which is a varchar, and I'll say 225, and the last one I'll say full name, which is also varchar 225. So let me break this down for you so that you can see what I'm doing here. Users. Now it looks like my code has broken up, or it's not correct. Okay. So once I've done that, now this is the query here, all the way from here. In short, I can put it inside let stmt. So most of you that have done this stm statement, most of you that have done PHP before, you would have been seeing this kind of practice, best practices here. So I'm going to console X, and I'm going to put it inside here. I'm going to remove this one so that I can have enough space. Then I'm going to put the first thing is the first parameter is statement. Then it takes in a callback function. Inside the callback function, you're going to have errors, results, and you're going to have fields. I don't really use this one, but it's always there. So if there's an error, I want to console.log the error. And what am I going to say? Instead of console.log the error, I'll just res.json, and I'll put in the error. That is, if there's an error, res.json error. If there is a result, you can break it down. I'm just because of space, I can now say res.json. So this create table doesn't really brings back much results. You might not need the results though, but I'm going to say results. So if you check, so if there's an error, we send the error back to the person calling it. If there's a result, we send the result back to the person calling it. So I've saved it now. Let's check my server is still working. Then I'm going to come here, this place here, and I'm going to put, instead of now all these ones, I'm going to put /create. So when I run this one now and wait, I'm going to get an error. As you can see, I didn't have any error. It says field row margin count server status 2. That means it went successfully. So let's check. Yeah, I had a break in connection. My screen went off, then it came back. I was so happy that the video saved. So I'm going to come back here and I'll be like checking to be sure if, so as you can see, it says one table. That means the request was sent successfully. So I'm going to click here and you can see we have users. So it was successful. So back to this place, as I'm saying, so you write your statement in here, and I'll show you how to write complicated statements and the rest. So that's to create database. I'm going to just make it create database, and that's for that. So I'm going to do the next one for here now. Now this one I want to do here now is to create, I want to use the insert. So I'll quickly run through this quickly to create the create, read, update, delete. So I'm going to use, the next one is create a user, a new user. So I'm going to do nice, I'm going to create another one called app.get, and I will call it create user. Now this one is not get, I'm going to make it post, so that you can post something and it's going to work. So I put my comma here. Remember to put your request and your response. So request is what is coming in, response is what you are sending in, you're sending in back. So I'm going to do this. So now what I want to do now is, when the person sends a request from JavaScript, I want to store it. So I'm going to put the user data inside, I'm going to say it, I'm going to say let, I'm used to Python, that's why. I'm going to say let user data is equals to the request. So something is coming from the body, the request dot body. So I'm going to explain this so that you can understand. So I'm going to console.log request.body. So, and at the end, I'm going to just say res.json request.body. It's as if I'm taking Node.js class all again from the beginning. I apologize for people who know this. It's just for people who don't know. That's why I'm doing all of this. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to send requests. So the first thing, we're going to check what's inside the body. We're going to store the body in the request of the body inside this variable called user data, and I'm going to send back to JavaScript the request of body. So what I'm sending is what I'm sending back in. So I come to Postman and I'll come here to put create user. So how do we make a post request? So when you want to make a post request, you come here and select post. You come to the body. You make sure it's in raw. Make sure this place is in JSON. Check it very well. Then we're going to create a data. So the data is a user, a single user. So sorry, let me just move this one. So the data is a single user. So because it's JSON, we're going to make it like a curly bracket, which is an object. I'm going to put the key which we created, ID, which is an integer. I'm going to make it 1. User name, which is, so I'm following the structure of the database we created, which is ID, username, and full name. So username is equals to Nabling Mass, and full name is equals to enter. So I'm supposed to make the ID primary key. So this one will be shouting on us. If you come back here and you click on user, this particular one is going to be shouting that, oh, there's an error. You have an error in your database. You have to, oh, my battery is low. You have to, make sure that there is a user. So if I go back to more branches, I select this one. So let me just promote to production, and it's going to be giving me all kinds of, it's supposed to give me all kinds of error, but I'm not seeing it. So it's supposed to be telling me that there's an issue, schema issues. So this user has no unique key. All table must have one unique key. So I forgot to make it ID primary. So we're going to write code for that later. But for this video, I think I'm going to stop at, because of my battery, I'm going to stop at inserting into users. We can catch up on the remaining ones later. I'm going to update the video on how to do that later. So I'll quickly come here and do this. So as you can see, I've done this, and I'm going to send the request there, and I'm going to get it back. So once I come here, it console log the request the body. As you can see, we're going to be having my terminal ID is 1, username is Nabliman's full name. So what we want to do is now we're going to write a query that is going to send it. So stmt, sorry, I'm always must forget to put my let. Stmt is equals to, I'm going to put it backtick. So you must know how to use SQL query. So insert into users, which is the name of the database. I'm going to need a bracket. So ID, comma, username, comma, full name. So I'm specifying where I want to put. Then I'm going to say values is equals to. So once you're using this kind of stuff, values is equals to this, you want to represent it with comma and comma. So I think something like this. So then you need so once you've done this here, then I say connection dot query. I'm kind of rusty this night, and I'll put the stmt there. I'll put my comma. Then I'm not going to put the callback function. So what I need now is my fields. So where is my field? My field is user data. In short, you could just even put the values should be 1. I'm going to put my user data. Then I'm going to say comma error results, and I'm going to put fields. So I'm going to do this and this. So I'm going to do the same thing here. If there's error, do this. If there's that, do that. I'm going to copy all of these, so I don't have to redo this from the beginning. Put it under here. So if there's error, res.json. If there's an issue, do this. So I'll come here and let's try and run it again. So I don't have an error. Now it says unknown error, missing bind value inserted to user where ID is equals to 1, username is equals to Nabduma, full name is equals to Emeta. So I don't need to put in, okay, sorry, I don't need to put the whole 3 since I'm sending the whole body. So just one, I need one, just one. So it's going to take the whole object, sorry, it's going to take the whole object and put it inside there. So this is the whole object. We're sending it like that. So one thing you should note is that when you are creating the key here, it must be the same thing that, even in the front end, it must be the same thing that you use in the database schema. You understand? So that when you are sending it to SQL, it's going to understand. So say you're using PHP will, you say on PHP you can change all those values and make them normal. But here we are sending the whole document. We have to make sure you can do it here. You can destructure it and do it here, or you can do it over there. So once I come in here and I send it again, as you can see, once you see affected rows 1, insert ID. So everything, we got everything. So I'll just come here, I'll do for get all the users before my battery runs low. For get all, and I'll make here app.get, and instead of insert into blah 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 blah, I'll just say select star from users. So that's how we do this. I'm going to remove this user data because I don't need it. Then I'm going to save. I'm going to click get all users. Sorry, I'm running very fast. My battery is low. I don't want to stop the class to start plugging into the light. So I'm going to turn back here to get request. I'm going to send it. So as you can see, we're having it didn't save to the database the ID, the name, and the full name. There is an error somewhere. So I think when we are sending it, we didn't save it, the ID, the name, the full name, and the rest. So we are supposed to fix that. So the last one wasn't working. So there was an error somewhere. Where is it? So this create user, there was an issue somewhere. The database wasn't sending the, what are they calling it? Wasn't sending the fields that we need. So I think one way we can do it is by coming here and by specifying here. You can say user data dot ID comma user data dot username user data dot full name. So you can specify like this. So we have 3 values. We can make it 1, 2, so these are binding the values of this comma to the way they are arranged, you know, like this. So I'm going to save. Sorry, I'm going to save and I'm going to try this again. So create user, I will send. Sorry, that's supposed to be post, not get. I will send, and it works. You see, affected row is 1. So this time I will get all the users. It's supposed to be get, and I will send. As you can see now, it works well. So the first one is null, 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 and that's because of the binding value. So to quickly explain that to you, insert into users. If you know SQL syntax, so we're saying the values. This comma will represent ID. This comma will represent username. This comma will represent full name. So after these statements, we're going to bind the value inside a kind of list, and we're going to arrange them accordingly. So this user data is equals to this one. Dot ID is equals to this one. Equals to this. This one is equals to the second one, question mark, which is this. This one is equals to the third one, which question mark is equals to this. Same thing works for binding of values for sets, posts, and the rest. So I'm going to save this one, and I'm going to quickly see you in the next video because I don't want this particular thing to get spoiled. So I'm going to stop here and talk later.